All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakafadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is Where Are the Heathen slash Gentile Camps at Part 2? And basically, the answer to that question is nowhere. And I'm talking about the actual heathen, right? The actual Gentiles, the other nations. They don't have any camps. They have no work, right? You don't have any works out here. And this is basically in response to the camp Genesis saying that, these heathen can receive salvation and they can't. Um, and yeah, where's their works? Where's their faith? Where's their camps? Where's their effort to enter into the kingdom, to work for, that thing, which is the reward, scripture say through much tribulation, but these devils have enjoyed, the fruits of the Israelites' labor, basically, right? Because they brought us into slavery, you know. So let me grab Slack here. Let me see where this is at. 26. All right, Slack here. Maybe it's Ecclesiasticus chapter 6. All right, let me look this up. Slack here again. And I'm just talking about basically the straight, right, and the narrow. Uh, all right, so second Ezra 7, Slack. All right, so going back to what I was talking about, these devils have not done anything to even receive salvation, and they cannot receive salvation. But we are, showing our faith through the foolishness of preaching, okay? And we're going through it, right? Every day we're catching hell. So let me read this. This is second Ezra 7:1. It says, "And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river." Like, you ever see like the memes and things, and the Edomite is on one side and the Israelite is on the other side, and the Edomite just got a clear path, right? He just jogging over there, but then the Israelite has like fucking puddles of snake, rocks, hurdles, and all these different things. Yeah, that's because the Edomite had it easy, right? So we're putting in the work, right, to achieve these promises mentioned in Romans 9, right, around the fourth verse. It says, and this is second Ezra 7:4, but put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the bride? These devils ain't suffer nothing. All right. It says there is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. Right, and that's why the prophets always say Esau's a two-time loser. Right, these regular Edomites you see walking around, because the Amalekites have hoarded the blessing from them. Right, took all the money, took all the resources and the wealth, and Esau, this is his time to live it up. Jake is suffering. Right, says, if this city now were given unto a man for inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? Look at what's happening now as the road is ending. You got all these Edomites coming on TikTok and all over the place saying, why aren't, just they're not calling us Israelites, but I'm gonna say Israelites. Why aren't there Israelites crying? Why are y'all not uproaring about the things that's happening? That's because we've been going through hell. Y'all now just receiving y'all hell because now pursuant to Lamentations 4:20, y'all the curses and pretty much everything is being turned on them because they've been living good. All right. It says, I read this again, verse 9 says, if this city now were given unto a man for inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. Yeah, only the Israelites. It ain't for nobody else. It says, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the interests of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. All right, so even the scriptures talk about as for the other people that come for Adam. Let me grab that. All right. That's 2nd Ezra 6 and 56 down there. It says, let me do second Ezra 6 and 54. It says, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Right. The Most High set a difference between us and them, the heathen and the Israelites. It says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Lord, Yahweh Bashmi, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. See, so they're lords over us. They're devouring us. The scriptures say, have seen servants upon horses and princes walking on the ground. These devils have been living good. And that was off the backs of the Israelites. So they haven't went through anything. They don't have any works to show forth. Right? That's why they all crying all over TikTok now that, shit is going south for them. It says, but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Because we're seeking a continual city. This city right here, this kingdom right here is about to be done with, right? Yahushua is going to come set up a kingdom that shall be forever, right? Going back to Daniel 2nd chapter. Okay. So, pretty much these devils, but they've been doing, they've been living good. Let me grab that Lazarus and Richmond. All right. Get it over here. So it doesn't make any sense, but these things, they happen with these false prophets and false teachers. The rich man and Lazarus. Luke 16 and 19. There was a certain rich man. This rich man will represent Esau. And you consider all the heathen, right? There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple, fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. You see that? It says, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus. This represents the Israelites, which was laid at his gate. Oh, and matter of fact, this rich man is Esau, because then it goes into the dogs down here. It says, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, right? So this is the Israelites, which was laid at his gate full of sores. Yeah, what Donald Trump talking about when he first came into office, talking about what do you got to lose? Basically we're trodden down, that's pretty much to sum it up. She said, what do we have to lose because we're trodden down, basically? That's us at his gate full of swords, because this is his kingdom. It says, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs, which is the rest of the nations, came and licked his sores. So they picked at us too, right? They helped to forward the affliction. It says, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell, right, which is a condition, because right now we're in a hellish condition right now, right? We're through. These devils, for the most part, they've been up, right? But now we see that their fall is here, but they've been up. It says, and in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, who? The rich man, and seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. And this is a future prophecy. This is what's going to happen, right? This is like what's the word, like either a metaphor or a parable. We just say parable, right? This is something that's going to happen. All right. It says, and he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things. So Esau received all the good things, right? He living it up. He lived it up, because we at his end now. It says, and likewise Lazarus evil things. So we got the short end of the stick. Even to this day, now y'all crying because y'all can't have fucking food stamps. Okay? It says, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted and thou art tormented. So the roles will reverse. There's no comfort for these heathen, all nations in the kingdom, right? They're going into servitude, slavery, right? And there's no salvation for them. They're going to be destroyed here. Everyone in America is going to be destroyed, except for the elect who's going to get beamed up, carried away by those angels, right? Pursuant to Matthew 24 and 30, right? It says, but Abraham's, Luke 16:25, but Abraham says, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. That's pretty much the point right there. All right. Esau received good things. As a matter of fact, let me grab this Job. I believe it's like 32 or something. Let me see. Or 27. No, it's not 27. But this is my Bible. Let me see. These devils don't want us to do with Yahweh anyway, because they good. It says they good. Figure out that. All right, this is Job 21. I'm gonna want to start at Job 21:7. It says, wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power. Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Your children is going to take away by Eve. All right. The separation of the homes. And who did that? Edom. Edom separated y'all. Why? He gave them food stamps and Section 8 and benefits and all this extra shit. Right? It says their seed is established in their sight. So this is talking about the wicked right here. Job 28, 21 and 8, right? The heathen who y'all trying to save. which won't be saved at all. All right, Job 21:8, it says, their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear. Neither is the rod of Yahweh upon them. You know, just the saying them talking about, basically just going to a neighborhood where everything is good. Motherfucker leave they car door unlocked and all of that, right? Probably walk out the house, the front door open. Hi, Bob. Hey, Billy. All that. It says Job 21:10. Their bull gendereth and felleth not. Their cow calveth and casteth not her cow. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They take the timbrel and harp and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in woe, and in a moment go down to the grave. So they happy as hell. You see wicked ass devils, the Rothschilds, and all these people. They always fucking smiling, big ass smile. Trump, as he used to be smiling. He ain't smiling too much now. He's mad at people. But anyway, it says they spend their days in woe, and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto Yahweh, Bashmiel Shai, right? They say this to God, depart from us, and you want to save them. Depart from us. The scriptures talk about in 2nd Ezra 2, those that stood stiffly for the name of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. But they're saying, therefore, they say, bro, Wef was like, what? Yahweh Shai is fake news? Therefore, they say unto Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. How are they going to be saved, bro? It says, what is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? It says, lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. It says, how often? Okay, so now they gonna be destroyed. But this is what they're saying. Okay. So let me go over here. That's what I was gonna get. Read some of this. You get two witnesses. This is Revelations 11. This is a lot of scriptures. Psalms 83. They came against us, plotting against us. All right, so we're gonna get all of that, some of that probably. It says Revelations 11:1. It says, and there was given me a reed like a rod, and the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, and altar, and them that worship therein. Now, how do we measure it? With the Bible, right? So this is this reed that's like a rod. All right, that's the measuring stick, and Esau and the heathen has been found wanting. All right, they're not making it nowhere but into slavery. The scriptures say that. All right, and matter of fact, the word which is able to save your soul wasn't given to them. That's why they have no faith, no works. All right, let me grab that Psalms 147. It says, the scriptures even say, oh, why roughly paraphrasing, why take my word into thy mouth, right? They don't even call on a name, but let me see if I can find that. Is yeah, all right, we're gonna get that next. This is Psalms 47:19. It says, he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. So the word that's able to save your soul, he only gave it to the Israelites. He didn't give it to nobody else. So they can't be saved or delivered or anything like that. They're going to be destroyed, bro. They're going to be put into slavery. The scriptures talk about binding their kings with fetters of iron. Where is that? Let me grab this next one right here that I had, though. Psalm 50:16. It says, Psalms 50:16, it says, but unto the wicked Yahweh saith, right? What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? It says, seeing thou hatest instruction and casting my words behind you. Did I just not read the Job 21? It says, uh, when thou sawest a thief, then thou contentest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue premise deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thy own mother's son. So this is what the wicked do. You know, it says, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. So what? So yeah, he's going to reprove them and set us in order. That goes to that Lamentations 4. Uh, basically, Esau being reproved. This is Lamentations 4 and 21. It says, rejoice and be glad, O Lord of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz, because it's always about Esau. It's always about Esau, right? The people walk up to the camp. Oh, where's Esau on the sign? Where's the white man on the sign? It says, rejoice and be glad, O Lord of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. And that's what's happening right now. Right? That cup is definitely being passed to Esau. He's at his end. It says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O Lord of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O Lord of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Yeah, hey, this man's trespassed against us, right? He has done atrocities to us. All right. All right, so let me go back over here. So the two witnesses, Revelations 11 and 1, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple of Yahweh Bashmi Shai, and the altar and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out and measure. Now, who's out of the temple? Gentiles, the heathen. It says, but the court which is without the temple leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. In the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months. So we have heathen Gentiles in Jerusalem right now, right? To this day. It says, and I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,263 days, clothed in sackcloth, both tribes, Judah and Ephraim, right? These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the power of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of the mouth of the spiritual power, right, and devour their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. All right. It says, these have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And, let me grab a precept to that. This is basically talking about the spiritual power. That's it. You have let me grab this First King. All right. First Kings 17 and 1. It says, and Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, as the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai, power of Israel, liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai came unto him, saying, get thee hence and turn thee eastward and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. All right, so let me read down a little bit. Okay, yeah, so I'll read it right here. I just want to get to the point. Basically in the story, the food lasted. All right. Okay, so he went to where he was supposed to go. Okay, I'll get it right here. 1 Kings 17:10 says, so he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, a widow, a woman was there gathering of sticks, and he called to her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, as the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shah that power liveth, I have not a cake, but an handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a curse. And behold, I am gathering two sticks that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. That was the last food she had. It says, and Elijah said unto her, because what? It was no rain, drought. All right. It says, and Elijah said unto her, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof cakes and for thy son. For thus said the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shah, power Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the curse of oil fail until the day that the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shah send rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she and he in her house did eat many days. And the barrel of meal was wasted not, neither did the curse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shah, which he spake by Elijah. See, so he basically gave Elijah these power to allow that thing to happen, just like Yahweh Shai, fed the people the fish in the loaves. Okay. Okay. Elijah raises the widow's son. He rose somebody from the dead. Okay. So you can read this 1 Kings 17, and you can see Elijah has that spiritual power. All right. So going back over here, Revelations 11:5, it says, and if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devour their enemies. And if many, Slacky, I'm just reading a little fast, it says, and if any man will hurt them, he must in this man be killed. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy. So that's what Elijah did through the power of Yahweh Bashmi Shai, right? And have power over waters to turn them to blood and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. All right, so basically what? Esau Edom came out of the bottomless pit to make war against us and kill us. Verse 9 here in Revelation 11:9 says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues, so this is the heathen, the Gentiles, right, the nations, all of them. It says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. All right, so basically, they didn't allow us to know who we was, right? It was Yahweh Bashmi Shai that allowed us to know. And go back to Ezekiel 37. The Most High put the breath in us to wake us up through His power, right? We taught each other. There is no, and that's why the prophets grow up and we come up and we say we haven't learned this anywhere else. We haven't seen this anywhere else, right? We basically learned it from our elders, our elder apostles, right? And this also goes into Psalms 83, right, where they have taken crafty counsel against us. All right. So Psalms 83:1, it says, a song or psalm of Asaph, keep not thou silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. And it goes in to list these nations, right, that all had a part in the play of cutting us off from being a nation and not allowing us to know who we are. And that's why it says the people will see our dead bodies because, well, we were in a dead state. Jeremiah 17:4 says we will discontinue from who we are, right? And that's what happened, right? Through what? Slavery. It goes on to say that too, right? Revelation 11:9, it says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. So they didn't wake us up to who we were. It says, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on earth. Right, so all of the tribes basically. We grab this. All right, Lamentations 2:15. All right, so Lamentations 2:15, it says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the door of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies, right? Going back to what Psalm 83, which lists all of them. It says, all thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. How do they swallow us up? By putting us into slavery. It says, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we have looked for. We have found. We have seen it. All right. Uh, so this was the gifts. There's another precept. Hold on. There's another precept I want to get. Let me see. I can't think about it. I don't have it. I thought I had it written down, but I don't. Let me see. 1 second. All right. It's all good. Oh, sold the girl for wine. Hold on. Let me see. All right, Joe. Okay, what is that, man? All right, so it says here the nations will be judged. So they're not going to be delivered or saved or anything like that. They're going to be judged. Joel 3:1, it says, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, and this is the tribes coming back together, right? Pursuant to Ezekiel 37, that's taking place right now, right? And pretty much is nearing its end because we're approaching Amos 8 and 11, right? Where we will be, pretty much a famine of the word will come. It says Joel 3:2, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. So these heathen scatter us, among the nations, and they parted our land, which is Jerusalem. And this valley of Jehoshaphat, right, which is the Lord's judgment, right, righteous judgment, is World War III. So the Most High is preparing these nations, uh, preparing the nations for World War III. This is a part of judgment too, their judgment. Ain't no, they're gonna be the ones shooting the missiles, right? It's gonna hit America, Babylon the Great, and also the land of Israel, right? And they're gonna be killing each other, right? Yahweh's judgment. It says, and they, these nations, because the nations are gonna be judged, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine that he might drink. So this is also part of slavery. And once again, they have enjoyed life here in America because of what? Slavery. But that's what America was built off the backs of slaves. So, that slave labor is not there no more. That free labor is not really there anymore. And America is dying. That's all they ever knew, right? Was just living off the slaves they had, which were us. So they didn't have to work or anything like that. They just owned slaves and enjoyed life, drinking and all of that. This is NLT. It says, they threw dice to decide which of my people would be their slaves. They traded boys to obtain prostitutes and sold girls for enough wine to get drunk. Right. So they had people doing their work and they were just drinking. They didn't have to worry about nothing. And through that process, they have built their wealth, right? Where they amass millions and millions of dollars to the point where they're good, you know. But then, it comes to the point where we have waken up, right? Revelations 11 and 11, it says, and after 3 days and a half, which goes into roughly the 350-year period, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right. And this is going back to Ezekiel 37. And why the fear fell on them is because we tormented them, right? They remember, they know who he is, they know what they did for one, right? So they know what happens now. We're returning back to our power. All right. Yeah, it says they rejoice over them and make merry. Revelation 11 and 10, it says, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send gifts one to another, which is us, right, as slaves, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. And now we're back, right? We're back to knowing who we are, you know. So, and then Revelation 11 and 12, it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, which is a chariot, and their enemies beheld them. Right. That goes into the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, right? Or 5, verse 2. It says, in the same hour was there a great earthquake because of what? Nuclear missiles, where all nations in America will be destroyed. And also Israel will be destroyed. It says, in the same hour was there a great earthquake, and a tenth part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. It says the second war was past, and behold, the third war coming quickly, which is World War III, and America will fall, right, along with the land of Israel, and only the Israelites will be beamed up into those ships to be saved out of um, America, right, and wherever else they're at in the world. The glorious return. It says, Matthew 24 and 29, it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right, because what? The nuclear missiles. It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, which are the chariots. It says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, the elect of the Israelites, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So all over the whole planet Earth, The elect will be gathered up. They don't say anybody else. That's it. That's all it says. You know, and these heathen that cannot be saved will witness it right before they're destroyed if they're in America, in Israel. It says Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, verse 2, it says, Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. And I still got to get James too, because they ain't got no works. They ain't doing nothing. The title of the video is where the camp's at. And I called it the second part because I did another part. And I think it was actually the same camp that was mentioned in that, about the heathen being saved. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, verse 1. It says, Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no accounts of his labor. Yeah, they don't want to give us reparations. Not that we want them, but just everything, all of it. Building up America, and even what we're doing now. We're not the people, we're not the prophets, right? Because we're laboring, to get this reward, right? Faith without works is dead. It says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for, right? Because we're going to be picked up, right, from sudden, imminent destruction by the chariots, right? Which the scriptures say are clouds. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, This was he whom we had sometimes in derision, a proverb of reproach. Yeah, this is the other nations. They're not gonna be there with us. It says, We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among us, the children of Yahweh Bashmal Shai, and his lot is among the saints? It says, Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness have not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yeah, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way, but as for the way of the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai, we have not known it. See, they don't even know it. All right? They don't know it. And therefore, they don't have the word which is able to save their soul. Okay? And they won't be saved. It's just simple as that. It's nowhere in the scriptures. Nowhere in the scriptures where they're going to be saved. They're going to be punished and put into slavery. Matter of fact, I was looking for that. Lucky. Okay. Right here. So Psalms 149 and 5, it says, Let the saints be joyful in glory, let them sing aloud upon their beds, let the high praises of Yahweh Bashmal Shai be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. There's no saving for them. He says, to execute vengeance upon the nations and punishments upon the people. All right? It says to bind their kings with chains and the nobles with fetters of iron. And if we're taking the kings and the nobles, of course you're going to take everybody else. To execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh Bashmal Shai. Right, so they're going into captivity. All right, there's no saving for them. Isaiah 14 and 1, for the Lord Yahweh Bashmal shall have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. So, we're not in our land right now, and it doesn't mention anybody else. But it does in the next verse. We'll get to it. It says, and the strangers shall be joined with them. These are the Israelites, that don't know the Israelites, right? They shall cleave to the house of Jacob. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them, and the land of the Lord Yahweh Bashmal shall for servants and handmaids. That's it. servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. We're captive right now. It says, and they shall rule over their oppressors. We're oppressed right now. Nothing about saving them. It says NLT, the nations of the world will help the Lord's people to return. Those who come to live in their land will serve them. Those who capture Israel will themselves be captured, and Israel will rule over its enemies. Once again, that's everybody. That's all nations. And we will get the riches of the Gentiles, basically. All their wealth, right, and everything they have. And the scripture goes to that into a little bit in Job 20, is the one I know. I'm thinking of some other ones, but I don't know exactly where it's at. But I know the Job 20 here. It says Job 20:15. It says, "He, the wicked, has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh shall cast them out of his belly." Yeah, so he's gonna give everything he got. We're gonna get back. NLT says they will vomit the wealth they swallow. Yahweh won't let them keep it down. Yeah, it's not for them, right? It says right here, I'm going down here, skip it down to verse 18. It says, "That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein." What is the word restitution talking about? That which is changed to recompense. Yeah, he's gonna give it back. All right. All the wealth is not for him; it's for us. Right now, they fighting over Antarctica. They talking about it's gold down there. That's our gold. It's on ice for us. So just wanted to go into that. And Lord willing, you edify from the lesson. Slovakia if I took too many pauses or whatnot. But Lord willing, hopefully you edify from the lesson. Shalom to the whole elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.